Hi guys and welcome to Monada Games. My name is Monique and I am the gamer behind the channel. Today we are going to go ahead and start decorating our home. The large family patio home is what I'm going to be calling this. If you would like to find this build, then go ahead and look in the gallery under Monada Games. So I'm going to start off with decorating this kitchen first. I feel like I'm always trying to decorate the kitchen first or the living room. It kind of just depends on that entryway into the home. And with this house in particular, it is the living room first and then it's going to be the kitchen. But I like to decorate the kitchen first with most of my builds just because it sets the tone for the rest of the house and I can kind of figure out what type of colors I would like to use. Now for this kitchen, I actually found this kitchen set from Tuds and they are on Patreon. They have a lot of stuff. So they have items for the kitchen, the living room, bedrooms, and I believe they have one other room, but mainly they just work on the decorative side to the home, not necessarily like the clutter type things. I do have that as well. So a lot of these items are CC, sorry. I will try to leave it down below. I really like how this kitchen turned out, mainly because of the extra cabinets and how the fridge is framed. It's probably going to become one of my favorite kitchen styles, unless I'm going for like a certain style for the kitchen, like if it's a 60s build or like a royalty and legacy. That expansion pack, I actually used a different type of kitchen. I used the kitchen set that came with that expansion pack just because of the type of kitchen and vibe that I was going for the overall home. Now for this kitchen, I decided to change it to blue because these Sims that I'm playing with, they are no longer playable, but they really enjoyed the color blue. So that will be throughout the house quite a bit, mainly in the big live-in areas, so the living room and the kitchen. So we are going to go ahead and start decorating the counters. All of these items I got from Snootysims. She is also on Patreon. And then, oh, Tuds does have some decorative stuff for the kids' bedrooms and I believe for the bathroom as well. But here's the kitchen. I decided to go with black and gold for most of the appliances just to tie it in everything together. And now I'm going to go ahead and decorate the laundry room. Now, the laundry room I did have a little bit of trouble with, and that's only because I couldn't figure out where to place things in this room. So I removed the windows and just made them so that they were on either side of the cabinet here. When I do my builds, I typically build it from a reference photo, and that reference photo had windows on this side. But the nice thing about building a home is that you could always change things up. So I took those windows out. I moved some shelving around the washer and dryer, but I do end up taking one of those out because I felt like it was a little bit too much, too same, you know? So I'm going to go ahead and add a few more decorations around the laundry area. I was trying to put this, what do you call it? I don't know, there's fruits and flowers and a vase as well. I was trying to put that in the left corner there, but at the time I hadn't figured out how to downsize items on my Steam Deck. But since then I have figured it out. I decided to change that item and put a different item there. And then I didn't really like the rattan chair, so I changed out those as well after I changed out all of the colors. try to keep this room pretty neutral just because I ended up adding color to the walls. Just a little bit of color. I decided to go with green. Don't mind the trash there. I had been playing the game since I decorated the room, and so there was a little bit of trash. And then I remembered that I needed some still shots of what the room looked like, and apparently I didn't check to see if there was anything on the floor before I did that. So right now we are going to go ahead and decorate the living room. I originally had this room upstairs. I was going to try to add the dining area right here, but I decided to make it a living room. And I kept it pretty simple. I just added some bookshelves to either side of the picture frame TV, and then I added some plants around just to add a little bit of greenery. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in a few more lights just so that I can see what I'm doing. This room originally was supposed to be a children's bedroom along with the laundry room. They both were supposed to be kids' bedrooms, but I couldn't get the rooms to fit exactly how I wanted. I like my builds to be kind of symmetrical, so if one room is smaller than the other, then it messes with my brain a little bit. I don't know if you feel the same, but I couldn't handle it, so I changed these rooms so that they were the laundry room, but then also like a hobby slash office room. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this chess table outside because I was originally going to put it inside of that hobby room, but it didn't really fit with what I was going with, so it went outside. And now I'm going to go ahead and figure out what type of decorations I want to go inside of this room. I decided to make this an art slash office studio. So I end up changing out a lot of things, but this left corner here definitely stays as the small art studio. And then I add in a little bit of drapery so that it gives, or not drapery, I add in some drapery to the right side of that just to add something to the wall. We in this build they do have two kids, so I wanted to add in a small little activity table just so that the kids and the parents could be working together. And then I started to change up the colors. With the colors, especially when I don't have the walls done yet, I tend to go for those neutral tones just because no matter what type of wallpaper I decide to use, it's going to match the furniture, and then that way I don't have to change the color of the furniture all the time. So this main area, or not this main area, but this office slash hobby area is mainly for the adults. The kids are obviously there too, but I changed the wallpaper color to be blue just to keep it kind of a cool tone and bring in some other color into the room since most of the objects are neutral. And then this bathroom I actually did decorate partially in the last video. I'll make sure to link it up above so that you can find it. I wanted to add a little bit more decoration to the bathroom because it felt a little empty. I'm going to add in the towel cabinet and then a bunch of other random items that I think would be inside of a bathroom, like toothbrushes, combs, soap, and all the things, you know? So, yeah, I'm going to decorate the rest of this bathroom. I wanted this wall to come out just a little bit because I felt like the bathroom was just a touch too small. And that's mainly because I tried to add a toilet scrubber in this area next to the toilet and it just was not working for me. So I expanded the wall. And then also, there's one thing that I figured out as well on my Steam Deck. I realized that I couldn't just place items anywhere that I wanted, even if I used bb.move objects. That just wasn't working for me. So later in other videos, I've figured it out. But that was one of the issues with placing that plunger, and so I had to extend the wall out a little bit and get everything to fit exactly where I wanted it to go. And then once I extended the wall, everything was placed nicely. And then this cabinet here, I didn't notice, but this cabinet is inside of the bathtub. And I kept trying to get my Sims to go to the bathroom and they would not use that shower. I was like, what the heck is going on? But now, like looking back, I'm realizing that the cabinet was in the way. So anyways, I moved that and it is fixed. And now we're going to get into the master bedroom. Now, most of these items, again, are from Snootysims, especially the decorative items. And she had this hallway table, so I used that, a plant, a couple of books, and a lamp just to decorate that entryway a little bit more. It does change up a little bit because I end up adding like a closet area because I felt like this space was just a little bit too big, like leading into the bedroom. So I did change that up just a smidge. And then I'm going to go ahead and change up my windows once again because they were not working for me in this room. And then I'm going to go ahead and center everything so that it makes sense to me in my mind. And I'm going to add in some cushions to the end of this bed. I originally was just going to leave it like this, but I felt like a table on top of that would look nice. Just kind of a layered effect. I think it's cute. And then this dresser here, I'm just going to add in some decorative items and move some stuff around just so that it looks pleasing to the eye when walking in. And here is the bedroom. I think it looks really, really cute. I like the red wallpaper and the photos on the wall. Now, this bedroom here is for their youngest child. She is a girl, and so she needed a crib because she was in that toddler stage, and so we put a crib in there and then a changing table and what is this called? I don't know what this is. I added some shelving to the wall here. I'm just trying to clutter up this room a little bit because it is a toddler room. Usually toddler rooms are kind of messy, but it also just kind of depends, on the toddler and the parent. I felt like these parents were more like, go ahead, this is your creative space, this is your space, you go ahead and do what you would like in this room. And so I wanted to make sure that it was kind of a cozy toddler room. Now, again, all of these items are mainly from Tuds. They have a lot of stuff. So if you want, go ahead and check them out. I am going to change up a little bit of the dressers just because I forgot that I had gotten these from Tuds and they match really, really well with the rest of the room because the rest of the room is by Tuds. So all of the colors will match perfectly. I'm just going to go ahead and center everything again. Like I said, my mind works with things being centered in the room, even if it doesn't quite look right sometimes. And if it doesn't look right, obviously I'm going to change it up. But like with the bed, where the bed was, I needed it to be centered on the wall and then the windows to be centered as well. And so I also like to go ahead and decorate with small items, but then I go in and I change the colors afterwards, especially once I figure out where I want everything to go. And then that way I could just change all the colors at one time to make the bedroom look cohesive instead of changing things every single time I place an item, especially because sometimes I'll place an item and I'm like, I don't really like the way that looks, and then I get rid of it. So for me, it's kind of a time saver. You let me know if you build houses in The Sims, do you like to literally plan everything out before you tackle the room, or do you just kind of plan as you go? I feel like I'm more of a plan as I go, especially after the house is already built. Then I can figure out what room is going to go where when I'm building the house. And then when I'm actually decorating those rooms, I figure out what items I want to go where afterwards, and then I go in with the colors. But anyways, yeah, let me know what you think down below about this bedroom. These wallpapers, I believe, are by Snootysims as well. They have a lot of wallpapers and they are just so beautiful. I love the little decorations that are on this wall and I think it goes perfectly. And then that beanbag, I did get rid of it because I could not figure out how to downsize my items. But here is the bedroom. I think it is so, so cute. Again, she was a toddler and then she became, or not a toddler, she was an infant and then she became a toddler. And so I had to change up her bed. But everything else is the same. Now, this is the child's room. They have an older son, and we were going for a blue and green theme in this room just because his previous bedroom was blue and green. And so I was just trying to keep that theme carried over to this house. And he is a child, I believe, when there are some things that are changed up just a little bit because when they moved to this house, like the day after he turned into a teenager. So there are some things that are a little bit different, but I wanted to make sure because this room is large. So I wanted to add in all of his activities that he would be getting into. I added in a toy chest and then I really decorated up his walls as well just because he did age up. And I added in some curtains as well into his room just because he had so many windows in his room, which is awesome. Great for sunlight. I really like that in my builds just because the sun helps, see things in your game. And then you don't always have to have all of your lights on because I do play with auto lights. And so it just helps to see around the house a little bit better. I really like how the blue and green theme turned out. I think this bed is also from Tuds Sims. Or not Tuds Sims, my bad. This bed is also from Tuds. So I'm just going to go ahead and decorate these walls. I think most of this stuff should come with one of the Sims packs. I really like adding in like benches and tables to the end of beds. I think it just adds like an extra touch to the house. And then I also put in a cooler into his room. He does actually use it, but I put the cooler in there just because it looked like a little wagon, so I thought it was really cute and I added that in there. And then there is a dinosaur that I added. And now I'm just looking for a good wallpaper to use. And I really like this airplane one, so I just kept it and I put it all over his walls. It looks really, really great in here. I think it came together very nicely. Okay, and now this room here, it's kind of the large family room or activity space. I had a really hard time because the room is just so big. I had a hard time figuring out what to put inside of this room, and I'll look to see where I found all of the kitchen items, and I'll try to link it down below. But I had a really hard time figuring out what to put in this space. So I actually had to go CC shopping, if you will, and figure out what items I could put inside of this room. And so there is a kids play tent, there's a kitchen in here, and then I found a little sleeping mat as well for the toddler just to crash out and fall asleep. I really like how the kitchen turned out. It's kind of small, but it's a great size because it's for a toddler. And then once I moved the kitchen over like this, I actually thought it would be a good idea to add a half wall here just to kind of separate the two spaces because I ended up adding a trampoline and I put the basketball hoop on the other side of that wall. And look at this cute little wagon. It has books in it so the kids can go in there and grab books and read them. So then it's not like your standard bookshelf, but it's really cute. So I put it there. There's also a small piano. Now, this basketball hoop is functional. The piano I couldn't get to work. And oh, this rocking horse is also functional as well. The kids can actually sleep on that. The xylophone, I could not get that to work either. The phone, I haven't tested it out, but it is supposed to work. The little swinging seat there, that is functional as well. And then this car ramp, the trampoline, those are both functional items for your toddlers. And then I found this really big, what is this even called? I got rid of that marble set. Oh, the dollhouse. So I found this dollhouse as well. I was just trying to figure out what to put in that space back there. It was just large and I wanted to fill it. So these seats also, I think this comes from Tuds. I feel like it does. But anyways, here is the little play area. The mats the mats are also from Tuds. There's a few variations that are there. The drums I could not get to work either. So I'm not too sure if it's the way that I downloaded the mod or if it is clashing with another one, but they are supposed to be functional. And now we're getting into the bathroom. I do apologize. It is dark in here. I kind of forgot to add in some lighting or turn on the lights when I was building this, but I just filled it up. I tried to make it as kid friendly as possible. And yeah, I really had fun with this build. I wish I could play with it more, but I think later on down the line I will just re-download it and play it because this house was a lot of fun. And I think if you would like to download it as well, then go ahead to Monada Games in the gallery to download it. Thanks, guys, so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one, which should be a little bit of gameplay. So stay tuned. Bye.